This is the Horse Radio Network.
Hey, you're listening to Adulting with Horses, the best place to be if you can't be at the barn. We are your co-hosts and equine authors, Heather Wallace and Natalie Keller-Reinert. As crazy horse girls, we don't take ourselves too seriously in the saddle or out. We celebrate the things that make us different. Join us as we talk about horses and pop culture and get a little weird in a fun way. Thank you for being a little weird with us. Oh, I made it on time, but just barely.
You're on time is so frustrating to me because I'm never on time for anything. So I'm like doing 3 things and you're messaging me exactly when you say you're going to be. Like, I'm ready. Like, son of a, how is she so punctual all the time? I am 5 minutes late is on time to me. So
oh God, being late is like my biggest pet peeve, but I have to, so I have to fill you in. I think I'm not going to describe the level of chaos that is my life. Like, okay, because we don't have that kind of time. But just to give you a snapshot of my morning, okay. And the hell that I went through, because today's technically my day off, right?
This is our easy day.
This is my easy day. So, yeah. So if I showed you my calendar of all the things I had to do today, you would probably cry. But so woke up this morning. I'm just going to take you through it. I woke up this morning and everybody was in a great mood. My husband had made tea for my daughter and I. It was glorious. And he even took the girls to the bus stop so I could, have a leisurely breakfast.
That's very nice.
Really, very nice. So by that, it means having like a breakfast taquito, right, in 5 minutes so I could spend 30 minutes on my computer because I'm never in front of the computer when I'm working on the horses and stuff. And so I did that. And then I ran to the barn because I had free time. So I was like, this is great. I haven't seen my horses in 2 weeks. I'm going to get to ride. It's going to be glorious. I get there and I get a message and it's like, oh, hey, Heather, I'm so glad you're going to be doing this talk in April for like the Colts Neck Trail Riders Club. I'm going to come out and take a little promo video of you. Like, okay, I won't ride, right? So I'll just do some groundwork and whatever. So I go do that. Pony's definitely off. There's something going on with him. And he just got diagnosed with Cushing's. So I'm giving him body work and I'm kind of checking that out. Did the little promo video. And then I like race out of there because I have to go pick up this thing at a department store that was ready and that they're going to like cancel it if I don't pick it up today because today's the last day that I could pick it up. And then, of course, it doesn't happen. Like I was sitting there for 20 minutes. I'm like calling them. Like nobody brings it out to me. So I race off to Taco Bell because I haven't really eaten. So I'm going to grab lunch, eat in the car so I could race home to get on the call with you. And I was on time.
Yeah. And I went nowhere. I got up at 9:30. I made coffee. I walked around the front yard with my cat. I yelled at him for killing a butterfly. And then I set up a whole bunch of like admin stuff for us. And I still was late.
Yeah.
I was late. Yeah. And I'm sorry.
Nope. Okay. Like I literally, I'm like all stressed out now and I'm like having trouble coming down from this like panic because I felt like I had so many things back to back. And this is actually my calm time because you and I get to chat and this is like fun.
Yeah.
Because the second my kids come home from school,
right.
I'm racing one kid to an appointment. The other's got to play tonight, which means she also has an after party.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It never ends.
I don't think people ever really understand how freaking time consuming children are. Like the amount of ferrying to and fro and I've got like the whole play thing. Like it's Thursday, right? So they're going to be out late. They're keeping you out late tonight and everything still has to go on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Plus she probably has another performance.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. And guess who gets to go to every single one of them?
Right.
Yay!
Like, it's just so much. And because I only had one, and he wasn't involved in a ton of stuff until like he was really into doing a lot of different band and orchestra things in high school. But like before that, he didn't participate in a lot of stuff. So when I went to work at this one place where like everybody had a bunch of kids and a bunch of different things, and I didn't have anything to talk to them about, because all they talked about was like going to bed early on Friday night so they could take their kids to soccer on Saturday morning. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And
I'll be honest. I think it's harder. Yeah, I think it's harder when they get older, because when they're babies, sure,
Yeah.
you know, you're tired, but like your time is still your own, and you do the things that you choose, right? Because your kid is so little, unless you want them in Gymboree and all those things. Like, you don't
Right.
have to do this. But as they get older, they have, you know, different interests, and they want to try different hobbies. And then you multiply that by the number of kids you have. And there's a reason that I have to stop working by 3 p.m. every day. And it's so I can be a mom from 3 to 8.
Right.
And then at 8 p.m., all I want to do is go to bed because I'm burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah. So all your stuff falls by the wayside because you're exhausted from being everybody else's human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, I mean, my husband's like, you're always tired. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm tired. Like, have you seen the amount of shit? Like, I go away for 3 days and all hell breaks loose because he can't
Right.
keep up with it. So I recently did a photo shoot for Fitz Riding, and, you know, it could be said that I maybe don't fit the normal body type for equestrian wear. So I was a little bit wary when I tried on the clothes, but I have to tell you, I'm so excited to see how this comes out, because the breeches were incredibly comfortable, something that I could wear all day going from work to the saddle and still feel really, really cute. Right? And somehow I still find time to write. I still find time to like keep my websites updated. I still find time to like, you know, breathe. And I feel like sometimes the barn time is like the only time I get to just be.
Yeah. Yesterday, I totally get that. And like yesterday, you know, I had kind of had a cold after the expo. And so I didn't do too much like outside. I just finished my book and I proofread it. And then
I'm
I
sorry, you
sent it
just
out.
finished your 103,000 word book.
Well, they're all that length. So like everybody's like, it's like I don't usually share the word length. That's so people are freaking out. It's kind of hilarious. They're like, you wrote that book. It's 100,000 words. I'm like, yeah, because the last one was 100,000 words, and I want them to look the same on the shelf.
It's aesthetically pleasing. Thank you.
It is, and there's 4 main characters, so there's a lot of story to tell. So, you know, whatever. I'm just glad I finished it. Just really, really, really glad I finished it because it was killing me. But it was like 5, and I was like, well, I don't want to ride because I still kind of have a cold. So I took the horses. I haltered Ben, and then Manny came along, and we took him onto like the driveway we had fenced off earlier in the winter, and just let them graze out there, like just to experience a new piece of the property they'd never been on. And that was enough. It was like half an hour horse time. Manny came up and let me scratch him. Ben just wanted to eat, and we just had a nice, like, that was my downtime for the day. It was just like half an hour of grazing the horses.
That sounds
And
amazing.
that was good. It wouldn't have been enough a certain period of time ago, but it is now.
You know, so that's kind of the thing. Like, I had the goal to go and ride Ferris, right? And all I was thinking this morning was like, I can't wait to get a leg over, right? Because like I've only ridden once in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
And then I got there and I was like, I am not mentally capable of connecting with my horses in the saddle right now. Like, if I were to swing a leg over, I would just be thinking about all the other stuff I have to do. I'd be rushing it. Like, it would be a job, right? It would be a training ride.
It's effort,
And
right?
I
Like
didn't
riding.
that.
If you want to ride, you have to be there and present. You can't just, it's not like showing up and throwing your leg over and being like, work for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be mentally present or your horse knows you're not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll take it out on you however they choose to take it out on you. It depends on the horse.
Oh, yeah. There's no way. Delight is one that he usually gets pushed to the side a little bit because
Yeah.
Delight is one. If you're rushing, he is not the one. It is not the day, right? Ferris is more forgiving. But even today, Ferris, I went to go halter him and he like walked away from me. He was like, your energy is not okay today. And I respect that, you know, but today I was like, no, but you just blew an abscess. Like, I need to check you. Like, I haven't had hands on you in 5 days. Like, you just got diagnosed with Cushing's. I haven't seen you. Like, I need to make sure you're okay. Right. So I kind of took a few deep breaths. I grabbed him. We went in. We had, you know, some good quality time together. But yeah, even though I was like, okay, not a good day for me. Like, today is not a good day for me. So I'll try again on Saturday. And if that doesn't work, then Sunday. Because what happens to me is I focus so much on what I have to do that I end up getting really kind of not depressed, but like I end up not wanting to go to the barn at all.
Yeah.
Because I
definitely.
feel like overwhelmed.
Yeah. The barn feels like the disposable thing because of the physical and mental energy, right? Like, I have to drive there and then it's going to take me all this time. I have to groom. I have to think about grooming, you know. I got to tack up. I got to put the saddle on. I got to ride and that's going to be hard work. And what if he does something stupid? I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm getting tired thinking about it. My horse is outside. Like, oh my God. And it's so crazy because I have so many goals that I'm not even remotely close to attempting to fulfill. Like, there's so many things I want to do. And whatever I do, I end up riding 2 or 3 days a week every damn time.
That's like the sweet spot though, right?
I guess. I don't know if either of us are getting any stronger or better, but we're certainly in a maintenance mode kind of place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love that you're calling it maintenance mode. I use that in terms with the bodywork stuff. But
Yeah.
I would say, like, I've been using my barn time planner and I've been trying to be really goal oriented with my horses. And even my trainers, like, wow, you've been here a lot lately. Of course, that was before all the trips. But so, you know, now I have to get back into that groove. But like, even then, I would be lucky if both horses got attention 2 days a week. So that's 4 days total.
Yeah, 2 horses that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well, and you know, so it's at this point they may not be improving, but they're not going downhill either.
Yeah, I feel like Ben is slowly coming back after having like a year and a half off. Like, he's slowly getting better and he's moving better and he's paying more attention to me. And these are all good things. I'm the kind of person that worries a lot about fitness, like injuries related to asking too much, that kind of thing. I worry so much about that. And so it makes me think, well, I'm never going to get him fit because then it's going to be summer again. And so I'm never really going to start jumping him or doing other like things. You know, he likes to play around. I like to play around. So I want to do those things. And I'm just like, I don't know when I'm ever going to feel comfortable doing it. Well, neither of us are fit ever.
Oh God, well, I'm definitely not fit. The last time I rode Ferris was in a lesson, and I don't know if I told you this, but this is how you know you have a good trainer. I hadn't been there in a little bit, and we had our scheduled lesson. I finally was able to make it, and I go, Robin, I don't think I'm gonna be able to ride Delight for this one because like I'm in too many different places mentally, and Delight takes focus. He is particular, and she goes, oh, I already know I wrote Ferris on the board for you. And I was like, wow, my trainer knows me so well. I didn't even have to say anything. She just like gets it. But then I rode him and boy, did we school him, right? My calves were burning. I had to take a couple of walk breaks because like just to get my breath, like the amount of work it took to get him to use his body properly because he's a cheater, just like his mom. It was exhausting. And this is me who when I'm doing well, I ride 2 to 3 times a week. And I don't mean just light riding. I mean, I ride. like I school my horses
Right.
when I do. So yeah, I'm not fit.
It's funny too, like, I told you about a potential to go fox hunting in the fall, right?
Yes.
And so I'm thinking I have to be fucking fit.
You got to
if
leg
I'm
up,
gonna
girl.
Go, yeah, like I need to leg up. I need maybe to start running. Like I need to get it together.
Oh my God, can we document that, please? Because, you know.
I used to run. I just
I did too. It wasn't
yeah.
pretty, but I did it.
No, I hate it. I hate it like with a burning passion. It's the worst thing ever. The only other way I know to get fit really quick is to like get on babies, but it's not baby season. I mean, I would do it if I lived 15 minutes closer to Ocala. I would probably be like, you know what? I think I'll go get on some babies for somebody because I enjoy it. And that will get you fit really quick. You're out there posting like around fields in a flat exercise saddle. Like your legs, you want to talk about thigh burn. By the end of the first ride, you're crying and you've got 5 more. It's great. Hi, buddy. Cat's here.
Of course he is.
So I kind of wish I could do that just because it would be fitness by fire. But, you know, probably best that I don't also because, you know, 40 something. Break easy.
I have tried to get back
Don't
into...
have general doctor.
Oh my God. I've tried to get back into like doing like the couch to 5K challenge or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, my ankles and my knees, they don't like it. Like
no, I don't think it's good for you. That's the problem with it. Like it's
no.
I think it's genuinely unhealthy unless you're like a body type that is suited for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not built like a runner. I'm built like a potato. So
I mean, I'm built to
it's
ride.
like let's roll you.
I have long legs and a short torso and a high waist. Like I'm very much built to ride horses. That was my genetic plan, not to run on my own 2 feet.
Oh, please. Even now, like if I get on Delight, everyone laughs. They're like, oh my God, are your stirrups just like really short? I was like, no, my legs are short. Like, shush. Like I fit the pony better. We all know it. Relax. So even, you know, just posting out of the saddle, like posting on Delight is a workout because he's so tall and floaty and I have to over exaggerate everything, which, you know, I'm really good at over exaggerating everything, but my body. But yeah, I know fitness is so I don't know about you. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Real talk. Do you, and obviously this is a leading question here. Do you ever get into like a really good groove, getting back into riding horses, whatever, and then something happens, even like a trip or a book, something, it derails you, and then you're like worse than it started, like you have trouble getting back in?
Oh yeah. And I remember telling a trainer this when, you know, back when I worked at Grand Cypress, so I would have been in my 20s, right? And I had a little kid, and I said to her, like, I don't keep riding because if I ride for 4 days, but then I have to go somewhere and then I have to work all nights and I'm not going to ride for 4 more days, then I don't see what the point was in the prior 4 days rides. Like to me, that just was deleting the progress.
Like it
that
crossed
I would have
it
made.
out.
Yeah. Like why even ride those 4 days if the next 4 days are going to be dark? You're going to be back at square one 4 days later. And I don't know if that's true or not. It was certainly true with the horse that I had at the time, bless her. But I don't know if that's really a good philosophy or not, but it's the one that I've struggled with for sure.
I think you still struggle with that because I remember you saying in a past conversation that, you know, you feel like you're getting fit and then you take some time to kind of step back and then you feel like you have to start over again.
Yeah. And I guess that's not really a philosophy. That's the truth because I could look at myself and tell you that's the case. Like, nothing good is happening.
Well, even so from a bodywork perspective, right? I think I look at Ferris, who we have fits and starts seasonally because of his conditions, right? Mm-hmm. He cannot be ridden from like July through September, depending on how hot it is, right?
Right.
Like he just physically, if I get on, it's for a light hack for maybe a few minutes, and then he gets like 3 baths. Like he doesn't sweat, so he can't be ridden hard, which means that he was retired for that whole season, generally speaking. And so I constantly feel like when October hits, we're starting from scratch.
Right.
Right. And so that's why I kind of refer to him as my constant project pony, because by the end of, January, we're moving and grooving. He's looking amazing and he's feeling amazing. And then, bad weather might get you. Right. And then it's like taking a couple steps back and maybe we start out having a couple bad rides. But I do find that if it's like a month off, it's a lot easier to come back from that because he hasn't lost as much muscle and he's got more of that muscle memory than if we have to take like 3 months off.
Yeah.
Right? So I think if I take like a week or 2 away and I come back and ride him, he shouldn't have really lost too much. He might be stiff, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see what you mean about like muscle memory and stuff. Like I could say, like I said, I ride now 3 days a week when I'm lucky, and I feel really whenever I get to that 3rd day, I'm like, fuck yeah, it's all happening for me now, and then I have to like go do something else. But I could say with confidence, I have a better seat now than I had 3 months ago. Ben is moving better than he was 3 months ago. Like all of these, there are factors that are improved. So I get, it's probably just a matter of deep impatience to be the person that I used to be.
Well, but
when I was 20.
is that ever going to happen? Like,
no, but I keep
writing
reading these books and writing these books. But I don't know. I shouldn't be reading the Dressage Chronicles. Let me tell you. So I'm reading the Dressage Chronicles by Karen McGoldrick, which came out she started the same year I really did with equestrian fiction. But I never read this book. And so I started reading it on the way home from Horse World Expo. And I don't know who gave Karen permission
to talk about you the way she did.
Talk about my life.
Do you feel personally violated right now?
I do. I have been personally violated by Karen McGoldrick. This book, almost every single thing that has happened in this book to this young woman who is a working student happened to me. Like, the same people, the same situations. Now, why that makes me wish I could ride more, I guess that's just proof of my brainwashing in the equestrian community. But it's, it's a lot of good stuff. It's just, there's a lot of rich psychos too. But I think things like that, I read things like that, and I'm like, I can still do this. I could still do that if I did run away and become a working student who had nothing else on her plate but riding and grooming and mucking out every single day, which obviously is neither a want nor a need.
I mean, my God, I was in the best shape of my life when I was a working student.
Yeah.
Like hauling water buckets and, I had so much, who needed a gym? But I will say, and I don't know if you agree with me on this one because I can only speak about my perspective, but like I feel like I know more, like I'm a more technical rider. I know more about how to ride, how to get the best out of my horse now than I did 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. But physically, that's not caught up with me. Like mentally, like I know the aids, I know how to hold my body, but like I don't have the stamina or the leg strength that I used to.
Yeah, I agree. Like I would like a combination of those two things. Like I would like a body that can do these things to match my brain. It made me wonder if I should try to find a part-time working student gig or something. But I don't know. I think I would fit that in. I think I would force it, like use a shoehorn, a hammer, and jam that into my schedule.
But if you do that, then will you have as much time for your own horses?
No.
See, that's the thing. That's that weird work-life balance thing that like all adults struggle with, right?
But
it's tough.
Get better at horsemanship on a schoolmaster and then apply those lessons to my horse? Or should I just keep riding my horse and absorbing information through podcasts and books and what I find on my own? What's better?
Well, I don't think that's I think it really depends on what your goals are, right? I really do think it depends on what your goals are because like I just started taking lessons again for the first time in like 3 years. Yeah. And she's not necessarily telling me things I don't know. Right? But what she's doing, and this is why I love my trainer so much, like she's become one of my best friends, is that she trains me as if I'm training the horse. So she doesn't focus on me and what I'm doing wrong or what I could do better. She focuses and says, okay, so when you do this, when you take the inside rein, do you feel how he gives here? Do you feel how it moves the shoulder over? Okay, try more of that. And so she's kind of working me through like what she would do if she was riding.
Yeah.
And that's nice because she doesn't do that. That's not how she teaches everybody. So the fact that she's giving me that kind of credit and that of knowledge, and she's like, okay, well, I know I'm going to show you this and you're going to practice it. So when we come back, you'll have that down, right? I love that.
Yeah, I think help with your own horse is probably the most important thing because that's your horse, right? And that's your project for as long as you have that horse or he's alive or whatever. That's a huge undertaking to have an animal, you know, a whole life under your wing like that. The other side of it, riding a schoolmaster and working on you is just to be like, by the time you stop riding, by the day you die, are you going to be the best possible rider you could have been? And it's not even really a showing question for me because showing is so subjective. And it's expensive. But just to be like, I'm the best rider I could have been, I kind of wonder about that too. It's that old sick ambition of mine creeping up and I need to squash it down by not reading horse books.
But why squash it? No, you don't need to squash it because it makes you want to be better, right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's frustrating wanting to be better.
It is frustrating.
It brings up conversations like this where you go, wouldn't you like to do that? What's a shame because you really can't. You don't have time.
And then it leads you back to like well, I should just give up because that's me. I get frustrated and I get overwhelmed and I say, you know what? I just need to take some time where like I then lack motivation to even go practice those things because I feel so frustrated.
Right.
Then I end up not wanting to go to the barn or ride.
Yeah. And
right.
That's got to be a key burnout piece right there for so many people. It's just frustration leading to not a lack of interest, but just like just a flop. Just like, what is the point? What is the point? What am I doing here? And then you have a full mental breakdown. Or is that just me?
No, I mean, you're prone to them for sure, but I'm definitely prone. So I'm prone to burnout because, like you, I do so much, like in all aspects of my life. I've got a lot of balls in the air, just like you do. And I've learned to say no, which is lovely. I was super excited for the fact that like it was going to be quiet in March. And then I ended up, now it's not. And I don't know how it got there. It like spiraled on me. But I'm only saying yes to the things that like absolutely I, have immediate gratification or like is worth it. But at the end of the day, though, I feel like every time I say yes to something else, I'm saying no to the barn time.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I fought so hard to come back for this. Like, we never really talked about this before, but like, I took 17 years off of horses.
Right.
That's a long
I don't think we talk
fucking
about
time.
that enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I saw the reason I wanted to talk about burnout because one, I think we can all relate to it, but two, I saw this post of someone saying like, I'm really frustrated with my horses and like what I'm able to do with them and not having time. And I'm just wondering if I should just take a step back, if I should just step away for a while. And I'll tell you, I did that.
Yep.
Because when I was a kid, I burned out so hard, so fast on the competition kind of vibe that it did sour me for that myself. But like, I had to go away and miss it. I had to see what else was out there. And if there was anything I liked just as much.
Right. And I did the same thing. And mine was faulty because it kept leading back to jobs with horses. But when I promise you that I tried really hard to quit, and what I found was that I was still a part of it underneath of me. It was too much a part of my personality. But I definitely like didn't have horses and lived in New York City and went through a period of time where I didn't ride at all. and definitely didn't expect to be sitting here 5 years later, on a
On your own farm.
with 2 horses, talking about horses as I write about horses.
As they're literally part of our personality, right?
Yeah, I just had to accept that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I think yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
that I think leaving is good. I think everybody should leave for a little while. The only thing to me it puts a cramp in is like if you do want to be a professional, you're taking out a couple of years of prime like improvement time. But at the same time, I think you'll be happier mentally if you do something else for a little while. I think that used to be kind of common, right? People would get sent away to sort of prove their, or is that just like a fantasy novel thing? But you would, you have like an apprenticeship somewhere else. And you're, oh no,
It's
I
like
want to go
Rumspringa.
home. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. It's like Rumspringa with less.
Yeah, you have to leave so
reality
you know if you really
television.
want it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it is all encompassing for us horse girls, right? Like the true in the heart, soul horse girls. Like it's not a hobby; it's a lifestyle and a passion. And I remember dreaming about horses, right? So I had nothing to do with them for the longest time. I think the only thing I did was when I graduated college, I went on a trip to Ireland and I rode for 2 hours on the most amazing trail ride of my life. Couldn't walk for 5 days after that, but I was like, this was what I was missing.
Right.
Right. But if I didn't take that time off, I wouldn't have known and found that love again, that passion again. And so like when my body, even now, says, take a week, don't worry about it. Your horses don't care if you go to the barn today, or don't worry about not riding this week, because, I kind of give that to myself so I don't step away for longer and get truly burned out again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I tell myself those things a lot. Like when I say, oh, I can't believe I'm not going to ride today, I remind myself, they don't care. You're not prepping for anything. This isn't your career. You're doing other things that you like better for your career. And it's silly that you should have to give yourself a talking to about what you like and what you don't like. But pressures are real too. There's the cold. Heather's hiding a sneeze.
I was trying to be subtle.
You can't do it
didn't
when
come
you're on video.
because you were watching me.
I'm like, sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. But, I'm going to draw some of the problem back to like the Instagram life too. And all of the people posting about their hustle and their and their $200 saddle pads. And none of these things mean anything, guys. It doesn't mean anything. It's just consumerism. Please stop. And it's okay to not be like the people that you don't know in your Instagram feed. I have to keep reminding myself of that. We made different choices and we're happy with our choices.
And also, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They might actually be needing, some calming supplements in order to get them through a day, right? Or they might be drunk the whole time because they can't handle it. Well, and that's the thing. I think when I first started writing, on the Timid Writer, it was like a catharsis for me. And so it was like a way that I kind of got some of the stress out. And then I started the bodywork business at the same time. And suddenly I had all these different things that these amazing opportunities and organic things. And I was just saying yes to everything. And I got so burned out. I was like, whoa, Heather, you need to learn to say no, like set boundaries, say no. And that involves no at the barn too, right? Like I have even all of my little barn rats are like, Heather, are you going to be at the barn this weekend? When can you work on my horse? And I have to be like, no, this is my barn time on this day. If you want me to work on your horse, I can work on it this day. And it's really hard because I don't want to say no. I want to help everybody I can. But like, there's nothing sexy about burnout. There's nothing sexy about overcommitting yourself, because you're going to end up in an early grave or like hurting yourself. Stress takes a physical toll on the body, not just mental.
Yeah. Well, look at the way I stop sleeping every time I'm stressed. Like I simply stop. And there's nothing I can do about it. Well, that's
and me. I can't get off the couch.
You can.
I'm like stuck on the couch, like I'm physically frozen.
Right. So your body tells you it's got a thing. You have to, if something's gone completely wrong, there's probably a reason, and it's probably stress. Yeah, I felt bad when you were here and you were doing body work. Bad. I was like,
I offered.
I know.
That's totally different.
like,
And then
she's
I felt
got
bad because Manny and the
days in
Sticky
Florida.
Stifle didn't get any attention.
That's right. What I'm doing now is I'm making a concerted effort to get down on my knees and curry comb little Manny like there's no tomorrow. Like just dig those little rubber teeth into his muscles, and he's happy with that. He's following me around, so I guess he likes
Probably
it.
loves it. You're grooming him. Well, and next time I come visit, I'll definitely pay attention to Manny. But I just, don't feel bad because like that's my problem is like I enjoy it. Like I enjoy what I do so much that it's really hard to limit myself and to say no or to like make people wait weeks for an appointment. Like I feel bad.
Right.
But I have to, and this is something that I really focused on in January and February, and I got to keep it going, is allotting time each week in my schedule, like on my work calendar for barn time.
Right.
Right. And that way I can't book that time because I see it. I said, nope, I'm at the barn. That's not free.
Yeah, I hate having a planner, but I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing it myself. I felt like having a planner almost made me more stressed out.
Because you saw all the things you had to do.
Yeah. So what I have been doing is I just sort of make a note that's like things to do this week, and then I kind of move them into the day sort of as I do them. And then when I'm not doing something, I can look at my list and say, well, you could do that. And then I have the pleasure of putting it under the day and then putting a little strike through it, which is always a nice feeling. And it sort of eliminates that frozen, what do I do next kind of feeling that, you can get when you have an insurmountable kind of list that's going to go on for months or years. You can go, well, I did something off the list. It doesn't really matter what order you do it in or whatever. So, man, I sound really nasal, don't I? I just realized I'm not breathing.
No, you're totally fine.
Still tell you I have a
You
cold.
always sound this sexy.
I'm like, I'm not really breathing through my nose, am I? Kind of running out of air here.
I never run out of air. That's why I keep talking. Yeah, I love that. I think writing a list and kind of like even just a to-do list and kind of cutting it into small, achievable chunks is nice.
Yeah, when it was big chunks, that was not working. And
no, because then you don't know where to start. And then you're like, fuck it all.
Yeah, then I just do something else or I start something else. That's what I'll do. Is I'll look at a long list and I'll be like, you know what I really want to do? And I'll do something completely new that's going to fuck up my life on like multiple levels. Like the night a couple weeks ago.
Like the new book.
Exactly. I have so many projects going right now, but I feel good about them. I just needed to finish Friends with Horses. And I did. I finished it. I feel like frickin' Frodo after he threw the ring into the volcano. It's done.
Like bittersweet, like you're gonna miss working on it, but you also need like go in a coma for 5 days.
Not bittersweet. Tired and sweet. Goodbye, book.
Into the fires of Mordor.
You know what? The bittersweet thing is I have to write a third one. No, I feel good about the third one. This one I never really, when I started writing, I didn't really know the plot. The third one I actually know exactly what I'm going to write. I just had to get this one in. It's a confusing process, I know.
Hey, Weird Horse Girls, Heather here. Wanted to let you know about something very exciting. Natalie and I are rolling out a Patreon page for our listeners. That's right. So this won't be the same old content that's on all the players. Oh no. What we're going to be doing is offering 3 major things to you. 1, Patreon members will be able to ask us questions and we're going to answer them on the air. We're also going to be doing a monthly bitch session where we're going to be talking about a topic completely unfiltered and full of opinions. And 3, any bonus episodes that we publish will be given to you exclusively early before it's launched on major players. So join our Patreon and can't wait to see what you guys think. This is like the filler in the series.
And it's not. It's a good story. It didn't really come. I didn't really know how all the threads were going to come together until like well into the like a couple weeks ago maybe. I said, oh, now I get it. So there was a lot of rewriting that went into that. It's not how you should write books, but as I've found, everybody's got their own process, and sadly, that is mine.
Fucking it up and having to go back and make changes.
Yeah, because it's been the same consistently since day one. It's write until you're about halfway through, then go back and start over again. And then kind of skim through the ending, and then go back and start proofreading and finding the plot threads that you really have to close in the ending and going back and writing those. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. Even the ones that I've plotted, the ones that I've purchased software for to plot, all of them are a 3-step process like that. That's just how it goes.
And yet you do it so often. You put out so many books.
I'm faster at it. Well, because now I know it's going to happen. I don't even worry about it. I just do it. I'm like, okay. And like, I share on Patreon, right? So I'm like, okay, everybody, you've been reading chapters from this now. I need a week of silence while I go back and start at the very beginning and revise everything I've written and then carry it through with these new plot threads to the ending. And then I'll start sharing again. And then the ending's going to be just like, I did the ending of this book. I had 10 chapters, all of which were about 200 words. My average chapter is 2,000 words. So they were all about 200 words. And some of them were just like 5 lines of dialogue just to say, this is the kind of gist of what's happening in this chapter.
Right. This is like a placeholder.
Yeah. And then I went back and rewrote it as I was proofreading.
I've done that a couple times with the Backdoor Horse.
Yeah.
Where I like, I'll put it away for 2 months and then I'll pick it back up and I'll have to kind of reread where I was at just to kind of get the flow and be like, oh yeah, that's where I was headed with that. And then I kind of make some changes or I make some adjustments and kind of then keep going forward. So it's like a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of situation.
It definitely is. Yeah. And you every time you approach it with a different level of clarity. So when you do have the ability to let it sit for a really long time, it can be great for it, but it takes that much longer even when you remove like the fallow periods, it takes that many more working days to get done, which is really tough. So, it's a great way to make a living.
I get it. I mean, why do we do this to ourselves?
And it's really funny is I have ideas for several different nonfiction books that I would love to write, and I can't seem to get them on the page.
Oh, yeah.
I can sort of mentally compose them. And I do it a lot when I'm outside. So I'll be riding and I'll think of whole paragraphs and eloquent things I want to say about any number of subjects, most of them horsey. And then I can't quite get them to compose themselves on paper. It's really strange. I go out and I muck the paddock, the same thing, all these great ideas. And I can't commit to writing them. It's really weird. And you mostly write nonfiction.
Yeah.
Where do you get your nonfiction ideas? Do you get them while you're working?
Often, or like there'll be a lot of questions that people have, and then I'll be like, you know what? So Girl Forward was easy because that was, telling the travels of how I got to Mongolia and what I experienced while I was there. That was easy because so many people were like, how did you make that happen? Or how did that happen? And what was it like? And I was like, I'm just going to write, I'm going to write down. And so that was easy. But like with the educational book, that was cool because I never done anything like body conditioning for the horse and rider. Plus, I never collabed with anybody before. Mm-hmm. So I just took shit I knew about. Like I started documenting my retraining and rehab with Ferris, and I started kind of putting it together. And the funny thing is I'm kind of stuck right now because things are going well for me with the body work, especially with the dogs. And I don't have anything for the dogs. Like I don't have any books.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I knew you had some good dog opportunities, and it seems like that should be a pretty ripe environment for like owner education.
You would think. And I do write some blog posts and things like that. But I've been meaning to do a dog book for a while, especially with this new opportunity that came up with the Westminster Masters Agility Championships. I mean, holy fucking shit. To be like the official massage therapist. I don't know like what part of my soul to sell for that. But like, so yeah, so I'm kind of stuck with that. Like I'm not really feeling passionate about anything in particular, or I'm trying to narrow it down. So yeah. And then of course with the fiction books, I've got like 4 different ideas.
Yeah.
And, I'm like you like that. It just, I'm trying to edit myself and not start a project before I'm done with the others.
Whatever.
Meanwhile, I say that as I've got 3 open projects.
You think you're better than me?
I've only got 3, Natalie, because I'm working right now on my memoir for Sid Collier with Trafalgar Square Books, which is her story. And then I've got The Backdoor Horse. Oh, yeah, I've even got more than that. And then I've got Taking the Reins, which is the 3rd one of the Confession series that I haven't started yet, but I want to come out sooner than later. And then I've got my mainstream book that's going out under a pen name that is like halfway written.
I think this is how people like you and me and maybe everybody can prevent burnout when it comes to like creativity. It's just having that ability to change up projects. And I don't know how that can be applied towards horsemanship, but I know we all get burned out as horsemen. On a sheer level of commitment and physicality. But I feel like obviously it's really easy to get burned out creatively as well, or with your work. And I think variety is the answer. I'm just not really sure how it applies.
I'd like to jump in here with an opinion because I think what is the answer for that with the horses, because it's what I do. Because I don't want to take any more time off. Like long time. It's that I put my focus on different things every week. So there might be a consistency, but some days we do like groundwork training. Some days we do Liberty, trips and tricks, or we free lunge at Liberty. Some days we ride. Some days we take a walk on the trails around the property. So we're doing something every different day. And even with riding, I do a different ride every day. I just don't do the walk, trot, canter, do a whole bunch of circles. I mean, I set up grid exercises, and I set up, let's do intervals and transitions. And I try to make it fun because my ADHD brain gets very, very fucking bored.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering if we're solving burnout right now. Like we're solving it. Is that possible?
Should we write a book about it?
I think maybe we should write a book about it. Like, because I'm like, that requires thinking outside of the typical like student of horsemanship box, right? You're not just like, do your warm up, do your circles, do your serpentines, jump twice a week, kind of stepping outside of that. And what's a well-rounded horse and rider week look like? It sounds like a book to me.
Well, you know what? I do too, actually. I think, because I'll tell you right now, Ferris and Delight, I love to use Delight as an example, okay? Because Delight I just got a compliment on TikTok of him this week. Some woman who lives in thoroughbred country goes, wow, what a nicely built thoroughbred. And I wanted to be like, no, he's not. Right? Because it took a lot of fucking work to get there. And he was a hard keeper. He is no longer a hard keeper. But he gets ridden maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. I admit he's been on the back burger riding. But I do a lot of mental work with him. He does a lot of, going on different ground and he now knows where to look for his feet. He has all these wonderful things that when I went off property for the first time in a year with him, he was a saint because we do all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably horses get burned out the same way people do. And they're like, absolutely, I know how to trot in circles. My God, woman. Why are we doing this?
Well, and this brings it back to the question. So like, I love like slower horses. I love more whoa than go, right?
Right.
Both of my horses tend to be on the quote unquote lazier side. And that's because they zone out. They don't pay attention, right? And what I've learned with all the work that I do with them is there is a big difference between when they're engaged with me and when they're not engaged with me.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Ferris, he'll go forward all day long, every day long now. I learned how to do that. But I have to keep his attention on me because if he thinks, oh, we're just going to do circles, he doesn't pay attention and he doesn't use his body correctly, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like I have a couple of like natural obstacles that I leave out in the areas where we ride. And like, for example, there's a branch that's maybe like 2 inches off the ground. And it's so funny how if Ben is concentrating on himself and being a pain in the ass, he will trip over it. It's literally just a stick on the ground. But if I have him focused on me, then it's like zing, 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 you know, his feet are all high. He bounces over it. But he'll literally like fall over this if he's not paying attention. It's like, Ben, it's a stick. You're falling over a stick that you know is there. That's always there.
Yeah. Well, I think we might have just absolutely solved the whole burnout for horses and humans.
We have, but we have to provide a roadmap because people are going to say, but Heather, we're not creative like you are, or we don't have this, sort of background with all of these different, liberty and things of that nature, which for that matter, I don't. And I always have to seek out what I'm supposed to be doing since I'm, here in isolation in the forest. So there has to be like a roadmap that says this is the way forward with livening up your barn lifestyle, making it more fun.
Okay, so we need to come up with
that's
like
our problem.
the anti-burnout Bible,
Oh.
and it's literally a different exercise. Like we'll have like weekly exercises and just take people through the week and say, here's this exercise, here's this fun game, here's these things.
That sounds
And there you go.
amazing. I'm like so excited
Right?
to do this. Yes.
I think we should. So let's write down. We have another project we're going to work on. Let's make a note. No, I think that would be super fun, actually. And just to like close it off a little bit, my husband, I've mentioned this before, my husband for years has been like, you're doing too much, right? You're
Right.
doing too many things. You're putting your eggs in too many baskets.
Right.
And what I had to explain to him was, yeah, he was not wrong. But at the end of the day, I have ADHD. And if I have one basket, that basket's not going to get filled, okay? Because I am already putting eggs outside the basket. Like I'm I'm running around doing different things. I'll probably be in the chicken coop. Like I don't know what's happening. But I need to have a couple different baskets because then when my brain needs a break, I can shift gears.
Yes.
I just need to fine tune how many gears I shift, right?
Right.
Like how many things I work on. And I think it's the same thing with horse people, right? Like if you've got, I don't know, a barrel horse, right? You're not gonna run the barrel pattern every day. You're gonna get burned out. So is your horse,
Right.
right? But physically and mentally. So we need to stop coming up with. We need to come up with some different things, and this goes for life too.
For life.
Well, it transfers, right? What happens in the barn? The barn is a microcosm.
That's so as our barn life is a tiny version of our real life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
So if we actively seek out drama in our barn life,
Then we actively seek out drama in our real life, or maybe we are missing drama in our external life.
so
and
when I
seek to fill
sit
the
quietly
hole.
on a tack trunk and just listen to everything that's going on around me, that
That's your version of reality TV.
I mean, it tracks, right? I just sit and listen. That's that's about accurate.
Well, and it's funny too, because I'll tell you, somebody said to me the other day, they were like filling me in on gossip. And I said, and I remember saying this and thinking like, I kind of cringed internally because I was like, yeah, I don't want to like be the gossip. Like, I don't want to spread the gossip. I just want to hear the gossip. And I was like, oh my God, this girl. But I'm also like tracking Scandival from Bravo on TikTok. Like it's my job. Because if
Yeah.
you're not focusing on your problems, right, you got to focus on other people's.
I love focusing on other people's problems, and then but
That's why
it's-
we write.
sometimes when I have it all together, I'm like, what is it with these people and their problems? But that's so rare. I rarely have it all together.
Oh my God. Nobody really does. And if you do, it's a blip in time. Let's be honest. No one's got it all. There's always something going on behind the scenes. Yeah.
Adulting win of the week. Oh.
Do you have a win this week?
Do I have a win this week? Yeah, I have a win this week. You better believe it.
Tell me.
I finished the book. That's my win for the month, the year. Yes, I'm so pleased.
So you only had to get sick to make that happen?
I would have finished it this week, probably. Getting sick helped me finish it in 2 days instead of in 7 days. Because I wasn't saying to myself, I need to go out and mess with the horses, or I need to go out and like work on this or that. I just worked straight through until like 5:30, and then I fed the horses, and that was what let me get it done. I didn't have any, the whole like I really need to be doing something else thing is what trips me up a lot. And it's usually I need to go work with the horses, so I'm still confused about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing to take breaks. But
No.
like, what I want to know is, how do you manage to be uninterrupted for that length of time? Because that is my biggest problem.
Oh. My husband was building a vegetable garden, so he was outside.
Oh, thank God. Because I know he likes to sit and stare at you and be like, what's up?
Everyone
How you doing?
does. I'm super, super interesting and attractive when I'm sitting staring at my computer and cussing to myself and going, oh, this character, son of a, and then going back and changing something in another chapter. That's what I'm at my hottest.
My husband will never get it because when I'm writing, I can't be interrupted, you know.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone. I'm literally playing something out in my head and I'm fine tuning it. I'm trying to get it out onto paper. And if you talk to me, I will get annoyed, then very fucking angry, very fucking fast. And I can't get anything done unless he's going away, which that's my win for the week. My husband is going away this weekend snowboarding with his friends.
Wonderful.
So I get to play at the barn and I get to write because the only interruptions will be my daughters and they're all going to be on their phones. So
That's amazing. Well,
yeah. I have some chapters due.
Some
so.
dead time is definitely some great time. Whenever I went to Pennsylvania, and I had the first like morning kind of to myself before, because the expo didn't open until noon. I plopped myself down and I wrote 2,000 words in like an hour. Like,
Yep.
it was like quiet hotel room.
That's what I did in Orlando.
Happy
Absolutely.
writing. Yeah.
I had like 2 chapters done. I was like, this is great.
It is
and I even
amazing.
texted you.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to rent a hotel room one night a month and just like get shit done.
It's a good idea. It's amazing what you can get done in a hotel room. It really is.
I know.
And I've
Yeah.
absolutely heard of people getting on flights to California and back to get writing done. I'm not good at writing on planes, but I know you are. So
I'm pretty good at it, and it's a great way to ignore people, but it's when people start getting interested in what I'm doing that I get annoyed.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So, because I put the headphones in, it's like the do not fuck with me, sign language. It's like, sorry, can't hear you. And then they'll start talking to me and I'll just point to my ears, be like, nope, can't hear you. Sorry.
I've been seriously tempted with some people to just say no English, like in a very English voice. Just
Oh, you mean like the guy at Orlando airport who tried to fuck with me?
yeah, except he actually pretended he pretended to like have an accent, right? I would just be like, I'm sorry, I do not speak English. I have a plan. I'm going to do this the next time it comes up. I'll just be like, I'm really sorry, I don't speak any English.
Amazing. Thank you for being a little weird with us, Horse Girl. If you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your player of choice. Follow us on Instagram at Adulting with Horses Podcast, or even better, join our Adulting with Horses Clubhouse on Facebook, where you can become part of the show. Also, it's a great place to meet other horse crazy women.